next question kind of ties into this a little bit. So someone had mentioned, sent in a question on they tend to be naturally bent towards pessimism and having a little bit more of a negative outlook. And so their question was, how can I change my outlook?
Yes. So the first thing in change I found is to take away judgment. So it's to take away the judgment of, okay, this is bad. This is, negative, something I need to get away from. And really shifting it towards what's useful about a pessimistic outcome. And if it really is a strength, I mean, that could be a strength. Why not? What if it is? How is pessimism a strength? How can you use it like a strength? Even just asking yourself that question, it opens up a tiny window that removes the judgment of what's wrong with me as a person. And that what's wrong with me as a person, everyone wrestles with that in some way or another. Or at least myself included, all the clients I've ever worked with, all the people I've ever worked with. It's the ubiquitous human condition. And that that's a hard thing to deal with. And so what I think a coaching session does initially, what coaching does is it takes away that judgment just a little bit, and it offers a way to become curious about it. And what I found is that if you take away the judgment and you become curious with something, it tends to shift. It's not like coaching gives this thing where, okay, like we're going to find the root cause of pessimism and it has something to do with parental messaging. And if we change this parental messaging, then we're going to get something different. And we found the source. It's not quite that like that. It's more around, okay, right here now in present tense, where is the pessimism coming from? And when you sit with that, it starts to shift and you go, okay, it comes from this. This is what it's really after. Let's say it's really after safety. Okay, let's sit with safety. How does safety show up in the actions you take, in the kinds of questions you ask, the kinds of decisions you make? That kind of work. From there, you start to really design, how do you want to be with this? And that's an individual question for the coach to ask themselves and to really sink into. Yeah, it would be a lovely question to listen to the answer to and to see what comes up and just stay with curiosity. I really do think curiosity is going to help humanity, especially empathetic curiosity. Curiosity for the sake of other is so powerful. I would encourage this coach to sit in that space with a coach and see what comes up.
Yeah, I think that is amazing, and I love this idea of reading the judgment and the curiosity right away, because our inner critic is so tough sometimes, and so being curious with it. And it's, there's a couple things I was thinking of too. Even just the simple things of what are my daily habits? What are the things that I'm putting in my mind? So, because it can be as simple as, what does that say? Like garbage in, garbage out. Like, if you're constantly listening to negative things, or surrounding yourself with, I don't know, like news on 12 hours a day, it's going to be really hard to find optimism because you're going to be surrounded by a lot of hardship. And, so what are you putting in order to also stir within and be able to release good things too? So it can be something as simple as that. And even just taking time to be grateful. And I've talked about this actually, like one of the last Coaching to Flourish podcast. And I know you know much more about the science behind gratitude, but gratitude is incredibly powerful as well. And so I think looking at it as a strength and all the things you're mentioning is so good. And if you're like, oh, I really still want to grow in this, looking at what are you grateful for? Even just 3 things a day starts to really transform your mindset and helps you notice even more things throughout the day that are inspiring, or that you can be curious about, or that feel, like they connect to you. So it's really cool. There are just simple practices and simple things to be able to incorporate every day, even just a few minutes. It can just taking a half an hour a day to be able to look at, what am I going to put in my mind and my body today that is good, and what am I going to express out that is good, or let stir within that is good. So yeah, that's cool.